honestly, I just finished filming my June wrap-up video, and I thought I might as well sit down and do a review as well. So we are going to be talking about The Lies We Tell, which honest to God, I don't know how to feel about this one truly. I really don't know how to feel. This is written by Gillian French. I was really excited for this one. I picked this up 2 weeks ago, I think, right before my trip, and I was like, this is definitely going with me. It sounds amazing. It stars a girl named Pearl, and basically Pearl works at one of those towns where, is my mic recording? It is. She works at one of those towns that basically during tourist season, it's pumping, it's thriving, and then the rest of the year, all of the like people leave, and then it's dead. So during the tourist season, they have all these like posh people come down, and they have a country club. So Pearl works at the country club in the restaurant, and there's this one family that's really well known, and they're super rich. I believe it was a dad, a mom, a younger son, a younger sister, and then the one guy whose name is, what is his name? Tristan? It is Tristan. Okay. So one summer, what ends up happening is while all of the family are at their cottage thing, the house goes up in flames, but before that, everyone in the family had been shot except for Tristan because he was actually at a friend's house, like in a different town for like that night or whatever. So after that, Pearl's dad, who was a caretaker for the like, what is it, like yard or whatever, he got fired because everyone was kind of like, I don't know why they even thought, I think he was on duty and he just didn't see anything. He didn't see anyone go in the house, and it turned out that he had a flask on him, so everyone thought he was drunk on the job. So he ended up getting fired from like all of his jobs and like work. So it kind of fast forwards from that to, you start the book off where Pearl is trying to kind of figure out how to gain redemption for her father and figure out who killed the family. So Tristan actually is back. Oh God, this is a really mishmashed explanation, but it starts where basically Pearl is there and it's the next summer and all the rich people are back and Tristan comes back, and it turns out he's still living in the same house where it's kind of been like not boarded up, but it also wasn't completely destroyed by the flames. So he's still living there. He's still kind of just going about life, but now he's super quiet and reserved, and Pearl basically goes through the paces, I don't want to ruin anything, goes through the paces, I think, to get closer to Tristan in order to figure out what happened. It sounded incredible, in my opinion. I thought it sounded like it was going to be really, really great, and just a really good summer thriller YA read. So I was super, super excited about this book. That's the best I can do synopsis-wise. I'm going to talk about what I liked, didn't like, non-spoiler-wise, and then we'll get into the spoilery discussion. Right, so in terms of things that I liked about this book, the first 90% of this book I thought were great. I thought Tristan was such an interesting character. I thought I wanted more of Tristan. I think that would be one thing I disliked, was I wanted more of him. I thought he was so interesting to read about, and I really enjoyed reading from Pearl's perspective as well. I thought everything about the way the book was set up and paced was great. I didn't feel bored at all. I read this in one sitting because I was just like, oh my God, like it just keeps going, and it's every part of it's great. I'm super interested. There wasn't a dull kind of aspect of the book, I guess you could say. There were kind of areas that I really wish weren't in the book, which I can't explain unless I do a spoiler, so I can't really explain that. But for the most part, I really did enjoy the way that this book was set up, and I thought the writing was really, really good. Yeah. In terms of things that I didn't like about this book, I didn't like the ending, which is probably the best non-spoiler way I can say that I didn't like the ending without spoiling the ending. So I think I'm going to move on to the spoiler section. I know that this is super short. I don't really know how else to talk about it without spoiling it. Oh my God. Without spoiling it. So if you want to read the book, I would say honestly, my final thoughts on the book, I don't regret reading it, and I would read it again because that's how much I enjoyed reading about Tristan. So I would say in all, I would recommend the book. I would just be prepared for a shitty ending is all I guess I'll say. All right, so moving on to like spoiler discussion. Some of the things that I liked, I really enjoyed Tristan's character, and I wish that there was more of him. And I really like the fact that the way that Gillian French wrote the book made me prone to liking his character, even though he was kind of standoffish and a little bit like, not weird, but controlling. I really, really, really liked his character, and that's why I hated the ending so much. I thought it was a bit of a cop-out that he ended up being the one who did it. I really thought, I went through the entire book thinking, oh my god, I have no idea what's going to happen, because I assumed there was no way that she was going to make it, so it was like, yeah, it was Tristan. Because throughout the entire book, everyone thinks that he did it. It's like, why would you end up having him do it? Like, that's so lame. Especially considering that throughout the entire book, you really didn't get a sense that Tristan would have killed his parents and his siblings. It kind of felt like within the last 200 pages, suddenly there was this, oh, like, they didn't really care what he did. But it was like, yeah, but is that really enough to push him to kill his parents and kill his entire family, and set everyone on fire? It just seemed weird to me, especially considering there weren't a lot of flashbacks that really led to that. There were kind of elements you're like, okay, I get it, he's a little bit weird, and he has a short temper, and he's kind of the runt of the bunch, but those were all kind of loaded into the last bit of the book, and it just kind of felt like she was rushing to kind of be like, Tristan's a bad person, oh my god, it was Tristan who did it. Throughout the entire book, I'm like, okay, can we get back to like her and Tristan? Like, I want to know more about Tristan. And it just didn't happen. Instead, we got these annoying scenes between Pearl, Indigo, and Brown, because there was a love triangle there, because Brown and Indigo worked with Pearl, and Pearl had a thing for Brown, but Brown had an on and off thing with Indigo, and it did nothing for the plot apart from the fact that Indigo's grandmother let Pearl just told her shit about Tristan that really wasn't that revolutionary. It just kind of was annoying, because I'm like, okay, this clearly doesn't matter and it doesn't push the plot along whatsoever. I'd much rather Pearl be hanging around Tristan more. It just kind of felt stupid, and it really took me off throughout the book, so I was like, I really want to know more about Tristan. And I think that was kind of the beginning of the real flaws that I saw in this book. By flaws, I mean more so the fact that I honestly think that the ending was cheap. It was the cheapest ending I've read this entire year. To have this kind of a great paced book, really enjoyable. I thought it was really great, and throughout the entire book, I'm thinking, wow, I have no idea what's going to happen, because in my head, there's no way they're pinning this on Tristan. And what ends up happening? It was Tristan that did it. I remember reading it, and I stopped myself and was like, seriously? Like, are you joking? This was a great book and you just ruined it. Does this necessarily have to do with the fact that I really enjoyed Tristan's character and I thought him and Pearl were gonna get together? Yes, but it also has a lot to do with the fact that I just feel like the steps towards setting Tristan up as someone who would kill his entire family were not there whatsoever. For starters, there were barely any flashbacks that really showed the family. I wanted to know so much more about Tristan, and I wanted to know more about his family. They painted it as if there was this massive scandal, and the only scandal was that his little sister cheated on her boyfriend. That was it, with like Tristan's other best friend. It was like, who cares? Not in the sense of like, who cares, but I was expecting something so much bigger that led to the actual death of the family. But instead, the sister cheated on her boyfriend, but it didn't even really have anything to do with the actual death, because Tristan killed everybody because he wasn't the favorite, which it wasn't set in place that it really made sense. It just kind of felt like, did you write this story and then just couldn't figure out a good enough ending and just decided, okay, we'll pin it on Tristan? Like, I appreciate that Gillian French made it extremely easy to like Tristan, and I think maybe that was her idea, was she wanted the reader to like Tristan and get attached to him and then be like, oh, he killed his entire family. But at the same time, it would have made more sense if there was more reason. It just kind of felt, the Tristan that was in the first 75% of the book, he seemed like somebody who was a little bit controlling and not overbearing. He was controlling and a little like overly quiet, like somebody would be when their entire family is killed. but it just didn't seem as if he would kill his entire family and then set it all on fire. It just didn't really make any sense. As well, I felt like the actual journey for Pearl to go through to figure out everything was so short. It was once again overtaken by that stupid love triangle that had no business being in this book. Is it just me, or did she literally find the SD card and then find that video in the boat? And that was it. Like, or the key, whatever it was. That was literally it. That's all that she did to get to that point of when she was in the boat with Tristan, and then Tristan went like berserk. It just didn't really, it wasn't what I expected. But at the same time, I did enjoy the first brunt of the book because Tristan was a really interesting character to read about. I just really feel like that love triangle threw a massive wrench in this book, and I think that's why I personally feel as though a lot of areas just kind of feel disjointed and not really, the ends just don't feel tied together, if that makes sense. I'm sorry, Brown's character was so annoying. Every single time that she was hanging out with him, I'm like, oh my gosh, please go away. I don't like your character. You are so annoying. Nobody cares about you and Indigo and whatever's going on with you. This book has nothing to do with you. Please go away. Moving past the things that I liked as well as didn't like, we're gonna add a new area of my freaking review because I want to put what I wished happened. And I have it written down, sorry. I wanted to know more about the family. I really think the ending could have been better because I just genuinely don't think he was set up to be this massive killer, and I think that's why I was so let down by this book. And I think the book could have, honestly, I think the book could have been double the size. I really was interested in this, just the whole world. I was so interested in what was going on, and is there, like, I was expecting a lot more scandal in this, truly. I thought it was going to be way more interesting, way more fucked up. It really wasn't. It was just, oh, his girlfriend kissed another guy, and then he just killed everybody because he wasn't the favorite of the family, which I know that sounds really fucked up, that I don't think that's fucked up, but I read a lot of books like this where it gets really fucked up, and I guess that's just what I was expecting, and it just didn't happen. I was like, wow, this is incredibly underwhelming. But at the same time, I did still like it because of Tristan in the first 75%, which is so dumb, but I really, really did enjoy his character and the world in general. All in all, I just don't know how to feel about this book genuinely. I know at the beginning of the video I did recommend people to read it, but I'm also kind of scared doing that because I do feel like the actual structuring of the book was just, it just really, I don't even know how to word it. It just pisses me off that love triangle, honestly, in my opinion, really ruined the book for me. It did. It had nothing to do with anything, and it took away from space that could have been used for elements that could have really made the book a lot better, and there were really great bones to this book. This could have been an amazing book. I think it was a good book, but it could have been amazing, which is really frustrating. I honestly think it's worse when a book could have been great than when it actually is just bad, because you're just sitting there being like, God damn it, like, please, just, you know what, pull the book back off the shelves, rewrite it, put it back out, I will read it. I'll buy 5 copies. Like, this world in this book was so interesting to read about, but the actual things that happened in it, I was just like, okay, like, this is, like, okay, cool, like, I wasn't expecting this because I cannot believe you actually went down this road, because it's so predictable that you would think it's unpredictable, if that makes sense, which isn't really a good thing in my book. Anyways, guys, I hope that you enjoyed today's video. As always, if you read this book, let me know your thoughts. I'm genuinely curious as to what you guys thought about it, if you have read it, or if you haven't read it, if you will be picking it up. As well, you can like this video, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff if you did enjoy. And if you want to follow me outside of YouTube, you can. I have Instagram and Twitter and Goodreads, which are all Casey Aonso. I should show up if you search me, so hopefully that does work. But yeah, without anything really left to say, I hope that you guys did enjoy, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.